Hello everyone. May the 1st, we made it into that crazy month which is just around the corner. Yes, it will be quite something. I called it tremendous already months ago, having had a look of what's coming. And tremendous, I just looked it up here in Thesaurus: amazing, astounding, awesome, colossal, dreadful, enormous, excellent, exceptional. I guess all these adjectives will apply. Started off with a huge solar flare, 7.1. Here you see the spike. That was early morning here in North America, 1:09 p.m. in Universal Greenwich time. And this is what it says here on the space weather page: solar flare and radio blackout. Naturally it was that big. It erupted here from this part of the sun, 3288, the sunspot number, an unstable sunspot which was expected to produce big flares. This is certainly one of those. And the radiation from the flare, this is X-ray radiation, which is, the moment we see it here on the planet, is the interaction of that X-ray energy with the upper atmosphere. It ionized, as it always does with these big flares, the top of Earth's atmosphere, which disrupted the normal propagation of radio transmissions on the planet below, over that area where it was daylight, turning it into a plasma kind of. So really inserting lots and lots of additional energy, which always is like a particular push in a certain direction and an accentuation of a certain energy. And here we have the actually I want to show you this one too. This is from the Lockheed Martin site solar laboratory, where you get all these beautiful pictures too of the sun. You see that is the area here in, actually it is here more to the right. It is this area which the blast erupted from. And here you see the exact coordinates of where it erupted from. This is the 7.1, south 24, west 45. This is the sunspot number. So let's look at the astrology for that moment, that kind of initial push into the new month. Interesting. I was just looking at this new planet Gong in the last few days, as I found out one of the really important little nuances of this upcoming lunar eclipse on the 5th of May, which we get into in my next recording. Really, I want to keep it kind of short and concise here for a start. Gong is one of the 7 dwarf planets, and it is conjunct Saturn on the 4th of May upcoming, here at 5:37 in Pisces. This will be the first of 3 exact conjunctions. Gong is an interesting character. It is named after a Chinese dragon, a water dragon. I'll show you here just a little bit of what I pulled up from the web. So here we have the 7 dwarf planets: Aries, Haumea, Makemake, Gonggong, Quaoar, Sedna and Orcus. They're called the 7 dwarfs here on this site, which is kind of a very interesting way of putting it. Let's see the 7 dwarf, and here we have them. See, Aries, Haumea, Makemake, Gonggong, Quaoar, Sedna and Orcus, all smaller than Pluto. Aries actually is about the same size. That was the reason Pluto was dethroned, as they didn't want to add on more of these smaller planets. As you see here, this is a comparison. This is how big Earth is and Earth's moon. So you see all these are substantially smaller. So anyway, Gong-gong, here is the Wikipedia page. Discovered in 2007, got the original connotation OR10 and was named in 2019 after a Chinese water dragon deity, and Gong-gong in the Chinese mythology is the god responsible for chaos of floods, landslides, the tilt of the Earth's axis. The story is that there was a competition for leadership and Gong-gong came second, got really mad, and he lost and rammed his head into a mountain, and this destabilized the whole planet, broke one of the pillars and tilted the axis and caused floods and whatnot. So this is quite a story. Doesn't mean that this energy is always expressing in such ways, but there's definitely some research I did. I looked into some of the big events of the past, and it seems Gong-gong is involved in these like big earthquakes, volcanic eruptions and things like that. So this conjunction with Saturn is outstanding, and again you see this is exact on the 4th, the moon here 22 Libra, so just about a little bit more than a day prior to the lunar eclipse at 15 degrees, which we will get to later. But let me show you a few more charts here, just to give you an idea of the general mode we're getting in here in month of May. And why did I call it tremendous? Why do I give it all these adjectives? So very first, yesterday night actually here in our area, Jupiter crossed the line of 26 degrees, 22 and 30. This enters hexagram 3, which is difficulties at the beginning. And just want to show you this here quickly. This is hexagram 3. And here on the other side we have hexagram 60. Pluto already is activating hexagram 60, so with Jupiter activating this energy, this whole channel became defined, as we say. So this is based on the human design systems insights of how these planetary energies activate certain channels in our human design, our electric wiring between the different chakras, which naturally, if it's a transit, it is a collective experience, everybody will have that activated. This is the channel of mutation, of sudden changes, of sudden shifts from one state to another. This is a truly purely individual experience, so everybody will experiencing this in a unique and different way. This energy is active as long as Jupiter is in this segment of the zodiac, which will be up to the 26th of May, mutation. So keep this in mind. This is kind of the backdrop. And then Pluto turned retrograde a few hours ago at 0:21 in Aquarius, at the midpoint of this short excursion into the new sign between March 23rd and June the 11th. So we're right at the midpoint. From now on, Pluto will go backwards towards Capricorn again. This is so because you see, this is from Earth's perspective, this is where we see the Sun, and this is where Pluto can be spotted if you have a telescope, the Earth in the middle, or as seen from the Sun, the Earth is projected over here to this place, as naturally we are on the other end. So, but what I want to say is, when the Sun is approaching an opposition of a planet, that means the Earth is moving in between, and for that reason, due to Earth's movement, the planets are appearing to go backward. That is that whole phenomenon of retrogression. It's always during that time when the Earth is moving between the Sun and that planet, and that can be as long as 5 to 6 months. You see, this is a 2-month plus period, and then again 2 months to get out on the other side before the planet is then changing direction again, as seen from planet Earth. If you ever were wondering what that whole retrogression means, that's the reason. It's Earth's own motion, which is, it's like if you take over a car on the highway, the other car seems to move backwards. That's basically what it is. Anyway, this was earlier today, and what is definitely jumping to eye is again Chiron's position. Chiron, the one which brings light into all the stuff which needs to be healed, needs to be purified. So with Chiron so prominent, again, we can't help. Things are just coming onto the surface. They have to be looked at, they have to be investigated and come to terms with, and that is the healing which happens automatically, the consciousness we bring into it, and the loving attention. And this is super important in terms of clearing the path for the evolution to go in a more positive direction. The moon was almost exactly conjunct Ceres. Now Ceres, the earth goddess, always shows up when there is unrest in the earth, and there is this opposition here to Neptune, which actually will be accentuated quite a bit over the next few days with different alignments. You see, I just quickly show you through them. I don't want to go too much into the detail right now, just really it's more of an intro. So this is a few minutes later, actually, when the moon then is exactly conjunct. I thought this was an important little detail to see how this energy of Ceres, of the earth goddess, of the provider of nourishment, but also the one which is drawing a line and saying till here and not further. That is the other side of Ceres. Ceres can be very moody in that sense, when hurt, when in grief, when going through difficult time, and I guess that is part of what we are experiencing. With the Scorpio ascendant and the black moon here towering over the 0 meridian, yes, there seems to be that kind of frequency in the air. Now the next big alignment is just a few hours away, actually probably pretty much happening right while I'm doing this recording, is the planet Mercury crossing between Sun and Earth. As you probably all know, Mercury is retrograde right now since the 21st of April or so, around that time, and into May 15. And as I said again, that is Mercury moves between Earth and the Sun, in that sense appearing to go backward. And today is the exact alignment Mercury is perfectly between, which starts what in astrology is known as the next synodic Mercury cycle, which is about a 4-month cycle till again this same constellation is occurring, that Mercury will be perfectly between. So this is a starting point. This is planting the seeds for what is to come in the next 4 months. As I hinted at, you see the moon even more exactly here opposing Neptune. Water is implied here, also going into the mystery and exploring all the layers of what Neptune has to offer. And as we know, Neptune is a key player right now, as it's in its process of being dismantled, being light infused and transmuted. So all the deceptions and corruption and such is coming to light, with Uranus being at the ascendant of its discovery chart. This is what's happening right now at an accelerated pace. Uranus at 18 degrees Taurus, that is right here, and we will have a conjunction between the Sun and Taurus within a week. We are building up towards that, so this is so much going on in the sign Taurus, and Taurus is definitely the center point of focus with the lunar node here, the evolutionary direction. We have this little asteroid Astrea, which is that loving presence to clean up what's wrong. It is the commitment to look at and go where problems are, roll one's sleeves back, get one's hands dirty. This is very central here. So this is really the theme of what's going on. And you see this little asteroid, and asteroids, as on a general note, are always giving us roles to play. They are the intermediaries between the inner planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus and Mars, which are purely personal, as we say in astrology, and then the outer planets, the outer range, Jupiter, Saturn, the social planets, and then the transpersonal, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and so on. So the asteroids, they make the gap, they bridge that gap between personal and collective sphere. They show our roles we take on to bond these two energies, bring them together and bring them in harmony and synchronicity. That's why they are so important. There are over 20,000 asteroids. I'm only using the 5-6 largest ones, usually the ones which are colored in gray here, as you see. So Astrea is super important in this present time, being so closely aligned with the nodes, and the nodes, again, when that alignment, exact Mercury, exactly between Sun and Earth. You see at the 0 meridian, the North Node is here perfectly at the 4th house cusp, at the root of the chart. Literally meaning, yes, planting seeds and reclaiming Earth, taking it back, going back to nature, all of that. Interesting that Moon's position here, that was the position the Moon had when Mars turned direct on January the 12th. You can go back to that recording. It was also when the comet ZTF, the green comet, was closest to the Sun. That was within hours, a few hours prior to Mars being in that place where it turned forward again. So there was this powerful connection between Mars and the comet. That comet's energy is still going, still working on unraveling its codes and implying and adding in that information which it brought into the inner solar system. So that is a reactivation of that energy too. And naturally, with this hot spot being reactivated, also Mars gets another boost. Then this is tomorrow, May the 2nd, when the North Node will be most exact aligned with Australia here at 4:02. That is then. I like the fact that Venus is here at the source point when this occurs. Means it's really a matter of wanting to generate this harmonic frequency and bringing in love and healing and bonding every being again back into that natural cycle and bridging all the divisions, bringing us all back onto the same denominator that is part of what's going on right now. All that unraveling business. The Moon here in the last degree of Virgo by then, you see just a few degrees. These events all happen very, very close time-wise to each other. And then here we go, Juno enters Gemini with Uranus rising. That is also tomorrow, coming out of this conjunction with Sedna, which is a pretty deep and intense connection we are fusing right now. There is some of that unknown, of that dark energy which wants to be looked at. Mars here again in exalted position, the Moon void of course, so it's quite a, when the Moon is void, it's always, you don't know where it's going. It's a wild card. Nothing is clear at this point, and Uranus rising, yes, this is speaks for excitement in the tubes. And a bit later there is another ingress of Pallas into Leo. Pallas, the one which is holding the sword for justice and the scale to measure. Also, Pallas is the one who sees the patterns behind what's going on. Again, we have Chiron at the 7th house cusp. There's some repetitions going on here. Arrochot at the 4th house cusp. Arrochot, the one which allows us to see the full picture. So everything is geared towards an enlightening experience of sorts. And then, then comes Saturn and Gong-gong in conjunction. Quite a difficult configuration of energies. Gong-gong, again, the one which is potentially creating havoc, and Saturn, the one which is the karmic unraveling and also the bringing in the karmic lessons, so to say, which we have to go through. Uranus, 1835, Taurus, perfectly at the 4th house cusp here in Greenwich. Yes, you can expect there will be some shaking, and actually we're still building up to that moment. It is the 5th of May, and consider the double 5 there. Also consider May, naturally the 5, but also the 23, the two last numbers of the year, a 5. It's a 7 year we're in. The 7 is the one which shifts between 6 and 8, between the two structural numbers. So 7 is really the year of change in many ways, an easy guess there. And in total, if we add all the numbers of the month and the year, we get a 12, which is the Hanged Man, which is putting us into a position of having to just watch and contemplate, like that tarot card, the upside down, hanging on the cross, being there to meditate and to come to terms with the reality around us, kind of in a place of inaction, of contemplation. So this is really giving the base of what is coming, the eclipse on the 5th, and then after that Aspulus at the galactic center, that is also happening on the 4th, and then as we go through the month, there's the black moon entering hexagram 7 army, which is that deep push for rectification in a more kind of the energy coming from the belly, from the sacral, from the deep, so to say. It's the water below and the earth above in the I Ching. So there's many more interesting events coming up, but this sets the tone, and as we go I will show you more of what I see. Thank you again for listening, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.